Hello, you lovely lot. So if it came up, I don't know if it came up or not. If it came up, then I was live on here a minute ago, but it wasn't live. So I've just gone off my computer. It's a lot easier when it's on my computer because I can actually see you. And I have my computer to the left here in case I need to refer to anything. I can see myself there, and you're on my phone. So apologies, you're in tiny mode. What I was saying before I was interrupted by the lack of live is, first of all, welcome. Thank you for being here. What I was saying was I was a little bit late, a minute or so late coming in because I've been struggling with Google Drive. Well, actually with Facebook. Facebook have said they're going to download all my live videos that are in my account, and there's a lot, to my Google Drive, but that my Google Drive is too full. Well, I've emptied it as much as I can, and if they can't do it, I'm just going to lose all my live videos. I can't help that. But if anybody knows any workaround on that, that would be super. Thank you. Because tech and me, honestly, tech makes me want to boil my head. I can't be bothered with any of it. I can do it. It just takes me a million times longer than anybody else. And when I do it, it's fine. But by that time, my brain is frazzled and I want to boil my head, as I said. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I do love a live. I really, really love a live. This is like heaven to me to be able to speak to you directly. I wish you were actually all in front of me. So I was just talking to somebody earlier about, I'm doing a speaking course because I obviously can speak, but it's learning to speak on stage that's quite different. So I'm trying to learn to speak on stage a bit more. It's not about confidence, it's about the fact that I just drivel on about my favourite topic and everything else is just blocked out, which isn't ideal when you're looking for audience interaction. So I'm in my zone here with you guys, and if you are watching live, actually it doesn't matter whether you're watching live or not, but if you are watching live, please pop a little question, your HRT question below, and I'll try and address that. I've got a few things I want to talk to you about today because we've got some new followers. But if you've got a question, pop it below and I'll do my best. If you're watching this on replay, same again, pop it below and I will be in and out and, you know, doing my best to deal with those questions. Just bear with me. So first of all, in case you don't know, because I know the last 3 days, I think maybe 4 days, my page has just blown up. I mean, in a good way. That, you know, I get followers. I've got about 12,000 followers normally. I just hit 12,000 a few days ago, which is great. It's taken me a while to build that up. I'm super happy with that. And then suddenly I put what I viewed to be a very simple post about HRT onto my page, and I've got an extra 700 followers just in the space of a couple of days, that's not how it works in my world. I don't trend and I don't go viral. That's not what I do. I mean, if anybody wants to make me go viral, great, but that's not what happens. So that's really unusual for me. So if you're one of my newbies following me, thank you so much. You're super welcome. In case you don't know, my name is Jane Pangborn. I am the founder of Menopause Are Not Mad, and I remove the shame and confusion around HRT and menopause to help you live a life of clarity, confidence, and hopefully good health. I love HRT. So if you don't love HRT, or you don't want to know about HRT, or you have no interest in HRT, I'm probably not the person for you. But that doesn't mean all I think about is HRT. Well, probably 90% of the time. But I also am a qualified nutritionist, and I think a lot about nutrition, and I talk a lot about nutrition, and I talk a lot about mindset as well. So I'm just a normal person with lots of information about HRT and menopause, and you're welcome to ask me what you want to ask me. If I know, I'll tell you. If I don't know, I'll find out, because I know where to find out these things. So do pop your question below. So I've got some live questions. And I can see a few of you watching. Hi, Linda. Hi, Hayley. Oh, I'm sorry, that's gone a bit blurry on my phone. And hi, Shaheen. Lovely to see some names live. I'm going to talk a little bit about the last few days and what's been in my feed, which is why I'm going to keep looking down at my notes to remind me. And I also want to refer to perhaps some of the comments in the most popular post of the last few days, which was just blew my mind how many people were even interested in it. I'm super happy because it was such a down-to-earth basic post, and I'm happy that people want to know more about HRT. So don't forget to type your questions live or on replay. The most recent post I put on, which generated a little bit of interest, was where I said, is it okay to challenge your doctor about HRT? Now, if you are completely anti-HRT, if you are not interested in HRT, please don't now give me lots of abusive comments. Just swipe away, go and do something else. I block and delete all the time, and I don't suppose anybody ever sees most of it. I get death threats in my messages, in my message box, because of what I say about HRT, but I promise all of you that everything I tell you is based on, some of it's based on experience, because I've been working in this arena for about 10 years now, but it's all based on evidence. I'm totally up to date with the evidence. I'm constantly researching the evidence on HRT, and I will adjust my advice accordingly. And it's based on keeping you safe. I cannot tell you how many times somebody has come to me, either in a one-to-one situation where I've had a consultation, or perhaps in a group situation in my private group, where they've said, and this is a really good example, where they've said, oh yes, I'm on HRT, I've been on HRT, I don't know, 12 months, 18 months, or insert number of months in there. I only take estrogen. Oh no, I don't take progesterone because I'm intolerant to it. And so my next question is, so I'm assuming that you've had a hysterectomy then, because you need the progesterone to stop the over thickening of the uterus lining, which makes you much more susceptible to breast cancer, endometrial cancer, breast cancer on the brain, endometrial cancer. And so often the answer has been, oh no, I'll just take estrogen. Well, that's a massive alarm bell to me. And the number of women I've said, right, you must see your doctor immediately, tell him or her to prescribe you progesterone, and have a scan just to check there's been no over thickening in the meantime. It's always been fine, by the way. Nobody's ever been in a dangerous situation, but the fact is they've been misprescribed. Now, that's not really the point of my comment, is it okay to challenge your doctor? But it's just an example that I'm often asked, are you a medic? Are you a doctor? What gives you the right to tell people how to manage their HRT? Well, I don't have the right to do that. I choose to help with the advice that I've got and the guidance that I've got in my head. And people then can take that to the doctor in a more armed, knowledgeable way, so they can advocate for themselves. But my point being that just because you're a doctor, and I know doctors do an amazing job and they are well overworked, but just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you're an expert at HRT. So just to clarify that. So is it okay to challenge your doctor? When your doctor says to you, no, I don't believe in HRT, or no, I don't, you can't have HRT because you have a family history of breast cancer. You can't have HRT because it's not safe beyond the age of 50. You can't have HRT because, God, honestly, there's so many reasons, because you're over 60. You can't have HRT because you're too young. So you're either too old or too young. You can't have HRT because you have endometriosis. You can't have HRT because you have adenomyosis. You can't have HRT because you have PMDD. The list is endless as to the reasons you could be given for not having HRT. Now this comment, the comments I make are not in any way, shape or form meant to slate the skills of doctors. I fully admire doctors. We have friends who are doctors, and I like my doctors pretty well, actually. I think they do a really good job. But there's nothing wrong with you saying to your doctor, actually, I would like you to explain to me in a bit more detail why you've refused to even talk to me about HRT. Could you give me some sort of scientific information around that? It's okay to say that. Your doctor might not like it. That's not your problem. Your problem, your challenge is getting them to listen to you. And if you can go to them feeling a bit more armed, feeling a bit more confident, and feeling a bit stronger about what you want them to know, and letting them know that you know stuff about HRT that's safe and regulated and evidence-based, that will help them to help you. It's not about having an argument. It's not about being annoying. I'm quite annoying, to be fair, in real life, but also with the doctors. You know, it's not about trying to be better than anybody. It's just about saying to them, look, I know quite a bit about what I need. I'd like to discuss that with you. I know they only have 10 minutes, but if you go there fully armed, you can really cut that down to just a few minutes. You can write it down, you can leave them with a piece of paper so they can tap it into their little computer if they want to. But my point being, you advocating for yourself actually helps them to help you. And I'm a huge fan of taking responsibility for our own health. So I don't put all the responsibility for my health onto the doctor. It's up to me to say, actually, I think we just need to perhaps discuss that a bit more. If you have to book a double appointment, book a double appointment. I had an example recently, well, I say recently, it was about 8 months ago, where I'd had a blood test just to check my estradiol levels. Of course, I'm on HRT. I don't take progesterone purely because I've had a hysterectomy a couple of years ago. So I know my estradiol is fine because I've been on this dose. I'm on quite a high dose, but this dose since my hysterectomy, I'm all good. I also know that blood tests are not particularly accurate when it comes to checking levels. So I'd had my levels checked, which is a sort of annual thing, which is absolutely fine. And the doctor called me. I was abroad at the time, and she called me and said, I'm not happy that your estradiol levels are coming in really high. So she gave me a figure, I think it was about 1300 PMOL. Now, if you think about, generally about 400 is about, I mean, honestly, it depends who you are, what you're doing. But that would be high for me, 1400. And I just went, no. I said, sorry, I don't believe that blood result. I said, I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm saying that blood result is wrong. Somehow that blood test has been tainted with either, you know, with my HRT or something else. And I said, or something has happened to boost my estrogen levels prior to that test. Not a chance in hell. I have no ovaries to produce anymore. And I haven't changed my patches in a couple of years, about 18 months at that point. And so they said, oh, well, you know, we might have to get you to reduce your dose or even take you off HRT. And I went, no, that is not happening. So I said, I will agree to another blood test though. And I said, I absolutely guarantee that when you take that other blood test, that will be a different figure altogether, completely different. And so we did that second blood test. Second blood test came back about 500 or 600, perfectly fine for me. And I went, you know, it's not about being right. It's about thinking about the whole picture. I am not prepared to go off my HRT for anybody. I do not care how many people tell me I need to go off my HRT. Estrogen is anti-inflammatory. Estrogen is protective. It's protecting our bones. It's protecting our brain. It's protecting every cell in our body. And bones being a really key one as we age. So nobody can persuade me that I don't need my estrogen. It may have to be adjusted over the years, but even though I'm postmenopausal, it may have to be adjusted depending on what's happening. You know, if for example, you've been quite poorly, then, so if you had COVID or something, that can really knock your HRT and knock your hormones. So you might need to make some adjustments then. In that case, that's fine. Of course, make the adjustments, but that doesn't mean, what I'm trying to say is, and I'm definitely ranting now, it doesn't mean it's not working for you, you need to stop taking your HRT. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about knowing what's going on with your body and knowing that things might need to change. But being told all the things I said before about why you can't have HRT or why you need to go off your HRT, is not the way forward. It's just lazy. It's a lazy way of going, oh, I can't be bothered to think about your HRT. Your HRT is way too complex for me, so I'm just going to tell you to go off it. Actually, that's quite detrimental to many women. Certainly from a mental health perspective, for many women whose mental health will go down considerably. Mine would be, I wouldn't be able to function if I didn't have estrogen. My husband will attest to that. And also physical health. So we have women who already have the first signs of osteoporosis and are being told, go off your HRT. Well, that's not going to help. That is going to have a detrimental effect on their bone health. So from an advocating for yourself perspective with the doctor, it's absolutely fine to say, okay, could we just open up that conversation? I'm not going to leave with you telling me, no, you can't have HRT, or you need to go off your HRT. That's not an acceptable response. Your doctor's opinion of HRT is irrelevant. My opinion of HRT is irrelevant to your life. What's important are the facts and the evidence. And when the facts and the evidence and the logic around what's happening with your hormones are put together for you and your individual needs, that's where we have a conversation. You know, and as an example about opinions not meaning anything, I never wanted a Mirena coil. It wasn't for me, wasn't something I wanted, never something I even considered for myself. I managed perfectly well with all sorts of other progesterone options. But with clients, I will often recommend the Mirena coil if it's appropriate for them. But I'll obviously give them the benefits and also the potential side effects, you know, pros and cons, so they can weigh that up for themselves. It's not for me to say, oh no, I wouldn't have a Mirena coil, oh dear, no. That's absolute, it's got nothing to do with them, what I think. It's nothing to do with me, how they manage their either their contraception or their HRT. My job is to inform, to make sure that you've got the information you need to make an informed decision. Okay, hope that makes sense. Any questions, let me know. The next thing I wanted to talk about was, which I've kind of covered really, because I had it on my list as 10 reasons why HRT doesn't work for you. And I was just going to quickly look at the list I put together, because I won't remember them all because I'm very old. Here we go. So I put this post on the other day. Whenever I put a post on about HRT of any description, always, and I understand it, there's no criticism, always somebody, a number of people will say, well, I can't take HRT because, or it doesn't agree with me because. Now, it's not my job to force you to take HRT or even to try and persuade you. My job, as I said, is to inform you of the facts and you can go away and make your own decision. I hope that you will make the decision to do the best thing for your body. But not everybody does. That's absolutely fine. Everybody has their own way of approaching things. But I'm not going to change my narrative because people tell me they don't want to take it. Because there are so many women that do want that information. So the post the other day, which was actually 2 days ago, I think, I said 10 reasons why HRT doesn't work for you. Because I've worked in this area for about 10 years, but I've actually been part of the menopause and HRT world for, I was perimenopause at 37, so 21 years I've been working with menopause, but not formally until about 10 years ago. Quite often, as I say, women will come to me and say, I can't take HRT. So my next question is, why do you think HRT doesn't work for you? Let's talk through that. And this list of 10, I'm not going to go through the whole list of 10 because you can just look at my post, but I'm going to pick a few of them. The post was on the 26th of May, published by me. So you'll be able to see it on this page, on the Menopause Or Not Mad page. The first one I put on the list was, one of the reasons it might not be working for you is that the HRT format is wrong. So often I'll find that women are told, this is your HRT. So it might be that you've been given gel, which is brilliant, the gel with some Eutrogestin tablets or Prometrium tablets or generic progesterone tablets. And the woman might say, you know, I'm not feeling any benefit. So what could have happened is that format is not actually right for you. You may not be absorbing that gel, but nobody's bothered to check whether or not you're actually getting that estrogen gel into your system. The skin is a barrier, and it does a really good job of being a barrier. And if you're not absorbing your gel, yay for your skin. Your skin's doing a great job. Not yay for your HRT. It's not great. Now, I absorb reasonably well, but I was always on a relatively high dose, so I don't know whether that's my absorption or I just need a high dose. I think probably a bit of both. But if you're struggling to see any benefit, it could be that your dose is too low. It could be that you're not absorbing. Either way, the next best thing is to go on to an increased dose. And that sends many medics into a great big flurry of, oh no, you can't be on an increased dose. It will kill you. It won't. So if you're on 2 pumps of gel as an example, then moving to 3 pumps of gel, you might start to see a difference. 1, because you're absorbing a little bit of it, or 2, because you might just need a higher dose. With 2 pumps, 3 pumps, it's actually not that higher dose. They've changed the guidelines last year, so it's now 4 pumps is now considered a high dose. And anyway, different conversation. You can tell it frustrates me. I can't be bothered to go into that today. You'll set me right off. So it's fine if you need to have that higher dose. It's absolutely fine. And then you'll notice the difference. But once people start to go on to the higher doses, the reason medics get into a pickle about it is because they think, oh no, if you've got really high estrogen levels, estradiol levels, then you're going to end up in a really dangerous situation. Well, even if that were true, that high levels of estrogen are dangerous, that's a completely different conversation, which I don't agree with. If you're not absorbing, you are not going to have high levels of estrogen, because you're not absorbing. So you need that higher dose to absorb the same amount as somebody like me would absorb. So let's say 3 pumps of gel, just as the example we're using, that might feel like 1 pump of gel to you, whereas 3 pumps of gel to me, or to somebody who absorbs well, might feel like 3 pumps of gel, and that's fine. My patches are the equivalent. I'm on patches, not gel. So my patches are the equivalent of 6 pumps of gel, which honestly sends people into a tizzy every time I go for a repeat prescription. But it's like, for goodness sake, my estrogen levels are fine. It's fine. Just shush already. But it's very much a sheep dip, you know, tick a box type of process, rather than looking at you as an individual, which frustrates me beyond belief. So it might be that you're just not on the right format for you. If the gel really isn't absorbing, you might need tablets, or you might absorb better with patches or spray. One of the other ones was, oh yes, this happens a lot. This isn't a blamey comment, by the way, but it happens a lot, so bear it in mind. Some people who say, oh no, it hasn't worked for me, or I don't feel well, you know, I don't feel good on my HRT. We're all impatient, me included. In fact, I'm probably one of the least patient people you could talk to. Ask my husband. I'll carry on in a second, but here's an example of how impatient I am. A while ago, I sealed the shower in our ensuite because I was doing a little bit of DIY, one of my many skills, not very well. And I'd said to my husband, don't touch the shower tonight. Let's use the other bathroom. Don't touch it because it needs at least 12 hours to dry. And he went, got it, no problem. 2 hours later, I came out of the shower and went, it's fine, I've used the shower, let's not bother. And he went, God, he said, you can't wait for anything. So I am the least patient person. But if you do not give your HRT regime time to settle, then whether that's a new HRT regime or an adjusted HRT regime where you've gone up or down with doses, or you've changed the format of your HRT, you will feel weird. You're likely going to feel a bit odd. You might feel a bit rubbish. You might feel a bit hyper, a bit jazzy, because your body's going, whoa, whoa, I haven't even got used to the first one yet. Why are you changing it? Your body craves consistency and stability. And so you flipping around and swapping, believe me, even 2 years ago, I was still flipping around and swapping because I couldn't quite get my new HRT regime right. Believe me, I understand. But you just can't do it. You need to go, okay, I'm in this for the duration. And even if you just give it 4 to 6 weeks each time you make a change, or when you first start your HRT, it's better if it's about 3 months, but 4 to 6 weeks will do. It gives you a chance to see whether that regime is working, whether that's feeling good for you. And if it is, great. If it's not, you might need a bit of an increased dose or whatever, but don't do it straight away. I had one lady recently, bless her, she was in a bit of a pickle, and within 24 hours she had changed her regime and she just decided it wasn't for her. And I just said, 24 hours is just not enough. That's not quite the same, but my PT's on this and he'll understand. That is like saying, oh God, I started my diet yesterday and I still haven't lost any weight. So, it just isn't logical. We just need to try and be patient. No judgment required on that. The other one I just want to quickly talk about, there are 10 of them, as I said, but the other one that just jumps out at me for my list is that you may have been frightened into stopping your HRT, and this happens a lot. So I have a number of people in my community who've said, I stopped my HRT after a few weeks because I was having a bleed and I was frightened and I thought there was something wrong, so I just stopped it. Well, just so that you know, when you start or change your HRT, again, back to what I've just said, it takes a while for things to settle, and sometimes, not all times, but sometimes your body will have like an extra period. It's called a withdrawal bleed, but essentially you would view it as a period. Or you'll miss one completely and then you'll have 2 really close together, or you'll just get into the routine straight away and you'll settle really quickly. But just having a bit of an ad hoc bleed here and there, it can take sort of 6 months or so to settle. Just having the ad hoc bleed isn't a reason to stop. And all you're doing by stopping it is further confusing your body again. Your body's going, what do you want from me? What do you want? You've just told me to do this. Now you've taken that away. I don't know what to do. And then you'll be all skew-whiff again. So just to finish that point, it's really important to try to be consistent. Back to what I said, your body wants consistency and stability. And in most cases, HRT will work for most women. Of course, there are women who won't want to or can't take HRT. There are few women, by the way, who can't take HRT. Even if you have, for example, PMDD, which is it's like a really aggravated PMS. Really, it can be really bad. And from a mood perspective, it really brings some women down into very dark places. But if you're HRT, if you need HRT and HRT is managed properly in terms of the progesterone and the estrogen balance, you can take HRT. Don't just give up and say, oh, well, I can never take HRT, because that's not the case. So I think I've covered quite a lot. I was going to cover one more thing, but I'm going to leave it at that because I can tell I've started ranting now. But if you have any questions, please like the post, like the video, because it really does help the video to be sent forward and to be posted on other people's timelines. But if you have any questions, please pop them below. Happy to answer them. If you want to subscribe to this page, it's only 99p every month. And then you will get exclusive content from me, which isn't on this normal public page. And if you want to join my private membership, that's £9 a month. Just message me about those. And other than that, let me know how you found the live. Let me know what was useful, what wasn't useful, because that helps me in terms of what I provide for you in the future. And actually, just to share with you, I've been asked to be a radio host. More on that later. But thanks for listening. See you soon. Bye.